Lovely.
Welcome to paradise. I have never seen a place more amazing than this one. We are sailing across a stretch of ocean known as the Scotia Sea, going towards the South Georgia and South Sandwich Islands. After 3 days at sea, we are finally here. What a surprise to see so much green grass and moss covering the shore. A very different scenery than the white, empty spaces of Antarctica we left behind. South Georgia is a very special place. The island has often been called the most staggering wildlife show on Earth. Because of that, very strict biosecurity measures are put in place by the South Georgia Heritage Trust. We wash our equipment in biocide and vacuum our clothes. Our ship must be cleared to approach land, and we are briefed by a government officer. Our first stop is Gold Harbor. Gold Harbor lies at the foot of the Salvesen Mountains. The shore consists of a large beach and tussock grass. As a backdrop of the coastline, you can see the hanging ice cliffs of Bird Trap Glacier. Gold Harbor is regarded by many as the most beautiful location of South Georgia. In the morning, when sunlight hits the island, the cliffs turn into gold, hence the name Gold Harbor. Today is a gray, windy day. We are lucky to be able to land in the harbor. The site is absolutely amazing. The black sandy beach is covered with wildlife. Every square foot is teeming with elephant seals, gentle penguins, fur seals, and king penguins. You don't know where to look. So much happening in front of our eyes. I'm in paradise. You have no idea how much I love taking photos of wildlife. For me, Gold Harbor is a dream come true. Let's take a walk around. Did you know that male elephant seals have a vocal signature? They use their noses to snort a unique tempo and timbre. Elephant seals memorize and recognize their rivals' voices. This ability makes them the only known mammals, other than humans, that can use rhythm to respond to members of their species. The social status of an elephant seal colony is established through fighting at the beginning of the breeding season. These two juvenile seals are already training for dominance. Southern elephant seals spend 90% of their lives at sea. They come to shore only for a few months to mate. They are champion deep divers. They can stay underwater for 2 hours and swim down 2,000 meters or 7,000 feet. That's very deep. The little pups are called winners. Aren't they adorable? Look at their enormous dark eyes. Their eyes are adapted to detect bioluminescence in the pitch black ocean depths. When winners are born, they weigh around 32 kilos or 70 pounds. That's a heavy baby. A month later, they are already 120 kilos or 265 pounds. At this time, their moms head back to sea and will never come back. The babies are left by themselves to figure out how to swim and feed. I'm fascinated with the king penguins sitting at the end of the beach. The king penguin has a black head with vivid orange patches. They walk slowly. Unlike other penguins, they do not hop around. The pupils of a king penguin's eyes are round, but when the pupils are constructed, they become square. How weird! The king penguin has the longest breeding cycle of all penguin species, lasting about 1.5 years. King penguins don't build nests. They carry their egg around with them at all times, on top of their feet, under a loose fold of abdominal skin. Parents take turns incubating the egg. The egg hatches 2 months after being laid. The chicks look nothing like their parents. They're brown and fuzzy. They look like walking teddy bears.
They're so funny.
It will take a year before they can grow waterproof feathers and enter the water. The chicks huddle together in a creche during the winter months to keep warm, while the parents come on shore to feed them. I leave my GoPro on the ground for a moment. A curious chick comes right away to investigate. It's so interesting to sit on the beach and observe social interactions. The chicks make funny calls and love flopping their wings. King penguins have such a funny way of walking. I see some displays of affection. We can only observe. We're not allowed to interact with the animals. But if an animal decides to come close and breach the 5-meter rule, that's okay, as long as we don't touch them. This is a southern giant petrel. It's a stocky bird with a salt gland on top of its beak, which allows to clear the excess salt swallowed while feeding. Southern giant petrels are known as the vultures of the sea because they eat anything and everything, from carcasses, fish, squid, and sadly, penguin eggs and young chicks. They'll even drown another bird in the surf for a meal. And listen to that! On top of it all, southern giant petrels are known to projectile vomit their stomach oils at anyone they dislike. Sailors used to call them stink pots. It is not the most poetic bird. Some fur seals are also around. The fur seal pups are exploring their environment. They seem very curious and are not afraid to tease and bother the other animals. Looking at so much life on the beach, you would never guess we are walking on such remote and unhospitable place. No one lives on the South Sandwich Islands, and only a few people live on South Georgia during the summer months. There are no scheduled flights or ferries, so it's difficult to come here. These islands are administered by Great Britain, although Argentina is also claiming them, which led to the brief Falklands War in 1982. In the afternoon, we head to Grytviken to pay our respects to Sir Ernest Shackleton, who was laid to rest here in 1922. For many aboard our ship, being in the presence of the great polar explorer is the highlight of the trip.
But perhaps this is a pivotal moment, and I know that it's a moment that a lot of you have been looking forward to, and for some of you, it's a large part of the reason why you came on this trip. And I hope this experience and the feeling of actually being here by the gravesite is absolutely everything that you imagined and hoped. To endurance, and to Shackleton.
Grytviken is an abandoned whaling station that opened back in 1904. The station was in operation for 58 years, slaughtering over 50,000 whales. It's a ghostly feeling walking around the old rusty buildings and imagining the buzzing blubber cookers, bone cookers, laboratories, and storage houses. The station processed whales into oil and turned their bones and meat into fertilizers. Elephant seals were also hunted for their blubber during those days. London alone used 20,000 tons of elephant seal oil to light up the city. The original equipment arrived on board of the Louis. The wreck now lies on the shorelines below the cemetery. Other wrecks of the whaling ships Petrel, Diaz, and Albatross also lay on the beach left to rust, after decades of service. We visit the fascinating little museum. It used to be the whaling station manager's house. And we enter the beautifully restored Norwegian Lutheran church. A small library is attached to the side near the altar. We sail overnight to Jason Harbor. We land on a rocky beach covered with fur seals. There's an old sealer's hut still standing in the bay. In the 18th and 19th century, the coat of the Antarctic fur seal was much desired in China and Europe. American and British sealers hunted the Antarctic fur seal to the edge of extinction. I'm happy to report that today fur seals have come back in spectacular numbers, maybe because whales are no longer around to compete for krill. We take a short hike to a beautiful viewpoint. There's so much wind! It's difficult to stand upright. What a beautiful landscape! Most of us carry walking sticks. We use them not so much for walking, but for seal protection. During the mating season, fur seals tend to be very territorial and can attack. Holding a stick in front of their faces seems to stop their anger. We walk our way back through the tussock grass. It's gorgeous here. This is one of the most beautiful landscapes I have seen. It's outright gorgeous, despite the grey weather. We spot the Pintail Duck and ducklings, endemic from South Georgia. This cute little duck feeds on grass seeds, crustaceans, and get that! Carcasses of dead seals! It's not a joke. This lovely little creature has a deadly beak. Our next stop is Stromness Bay, but the wind picks up again and we cannot go ashore, so we head to Salisbury Plain. It's windy, it's rainy, and it's muddy, but what a view! King penguins as far as your eyes can see. The sheer numbers of the colony are impressive. Salisbury Plain is known for being the second largest site of king penguin colony in South Georgia. The breeding population is estimated to be between 60,000 and 100,000 pairs of king penguins. There's so much noise on the beach, like a permanent buzzing sound. I am overwhelmed. The wind is now blowing the rain horizontally, covering my face and the lens of my camera. I stand still, watch and listen. I'm trying to memorize the atmosphere into my mind, so I never forget it. Salisbury Plain is a must-see wildlife spectacle, even in the rain. It's time for us to say goodbye to South Georgia. We're traveling to the Falkland Islands next for the most incredible bird show on Earth.